Stephen A. sitting courtside. And while Stephen A. is sitting courtside, a LeBron James comes up to him to just one of the greatest players of all time. Decides, I'm going to go talk to Stephen A. Okay, what's you guys say to Stephen A? Maybe he's going to go up to Stephen A. Smith and he's just going to simply say, hey, congratulations on your new $100 million deal. If I'm right, I think that's the deal that Stephen A. just signed with ESPN, something along those lines. I saw something like that yesterday. It was being reported. Okay, take a look at this exchange here real quick. Watch it again. All right, this is the only thing that matters with the exchange. Clearly, LeBron's not happy. Okay? Clearly, LeBron's not happy. Clearly, LeBron's got something to say to Stephen A. Smith. Clearly, that's not a, hey, thanks for coming. I appreciate you being here. All that stuff. That was not the exchange that was definitely not the exchange that most people were thinking was, might happen or something along those lines. So, okay, what'd he say? What most people are saying he said that read his mouth here. And I think it was something along those lines. Keep my son's name out your mouth. He's obviously talking about Bronny James. Okay. There were some times, a couple different times so far during this season where I'm going to stop sharing. No need to keep sharing there. There were a couple times this season that Stephen A. Smith has gone pretty hard to the hoop when it comes to talking about Bronny James. All right. Does LeBron have a point here? Is Stephen A. Smith not supposed to give his opinion about what he thinks of Bronny James, what he thinks about, the situation that the Lakers so far this year, it actually has not been too much of a distraction, but drafting him and everything else. I know there was a point. I got to find this here. I thought I had the right one here. I don't feel like I have the right link that I wanted to share with everybody. Can I say this real quick? And look, if LeBron wants to go up to Stephen A. Smith and have a conversation about him, about saying something about his son or something along those lines and disagrees with this, disagrees with that, that's fine. Can I just say this? Bronny's fair game. He's an NBA player. Like, I mean, what did LeBron think was going to happen when his son got drafted by the Lakers as a second round pick? Like, I don't know if I have an issue with any of this, to be honest with you. I mean, if Stephen A. Smith is saying something personal and making it personal, I know he had some comments, specifically talking about how I'm trying to think which game that it was coming off of. But he was saying something along the lines of like, please, stop this. You got to stop this. And it was whatever he was referring to. Bron obviously clearly looked at the situation. He got his son paid $8 million. He was drafted by the Lakers, and LeBron's going to, use his power where he can. And kind of interestingly enough, Bronny has become a little bit of an interesting story towards the end of games. All right, hey, as long as the Lakers are winning, it's less of a storyline. Now, if the Lakers were losing or if he was playing big-time minutes, you guys remember there was a game, I think, against Philly. Lakers lost, and he had played early, and he played too many minutes, and it was like, what are we doing here? Why is J.J. Redick putting this guy in the game right here? But my honest opinion here on Stephen A. Smith and anybody being critical about Bronny James, it's fair game. The guy's in the league. He's in the NBA. That's just going to come with the territory. And as long as you're not doing something that is personal, as long as you're not taking shots at somebody, it's a, hey, I don't like this person, so I'm just going to stay on him the entire time, and I don't care whether my points are relevant or not. I don't care if I have any factual information behind it. If it's something along those lines, then, okay, that's a different story. And I'm not sitting here trying to tell you that I've listened to everything Stephen A. Smith has said about Bronny, but my view is kind of simple on this. If you're in the league and you're in the NBA, I don't care whose son you are. I don't care that your dad's LeBron James or any of that stuff. That's going to come with the territory. And I think of all people, I would assume LeBron already knows that and understands that simply because um, that's kind of how Braun has been in this league. Braun has been scrutinized everywhere he's looked. Braun, even up until last night's post-game show, I'm still reading comments of people saying, yeah, well, Braun isn't the greatest, or he didn't do this, or he didn't do that. Like just conversations that are random of just people wanting to hate on Braun. Of course, that there's gonna be some of that towards Bronny. So that was one of the things that I noticed right away when I saw that interaction. I'm like, well, what did he expect was going to happen at any stage of Bronny's career? No, that's probably going to be part of the territory. All right, let's look at some of the comments. I'm actually curious if most people would agree with LeBron here or if they would agree with Stephen A. Smith. Let's take a quick look here. Ah, these are the best. Um, just watch the clip of Stephen A. punching the heavy bag if you need a good laugh at the guy. What was he doing, by the way? What was he what was he doing? How did that video get out um, of Stephen A. Punching that bag? How's that possible? How is that possible? Um, okay, let's get another one here from Eric. Yeah, but why did Stephen A. single out Bronny? Why didn't he say that any other second round picks don't belong in the league? I'll tell you why. Um, By the way, I think the best point that anybody can make with any of this stuff is nepotism. That's all over the place. Go look at how many head coaches in the NBA have a last name of whatever you want to look like, whatever that last name is, or front office executives out there that are in there because of their family. So I'm not telling you that it doesn't happen every time. It happens in every business. It happens in every job. It happens in every industry. That's happening. Nobody's saying that it's not happening. But I think the only difference in this one is, okay, well, it's the greatest player that's ever played the game, one of the greatest players to ever play the game. His son obviously gets drafted by the Lakers at number 55. Clearly, Bronny was not ready to be drafted at number 55. Okay, that's fine. You guys want to say it's a late second round pick. We've already kind of dissected all that. That's okay. That's not a problem. I don't think that big of a deal anymore. And whether it was a storyline before, it's clearly not a storyline now. Lakers are winning. Who the hell really cares? It's not like Bronny stealing minutes away from Dorian Finney-Smith or something along those lines where you're like, this is bananas. This makes no sense at all. Um, my only point is that you're right, Eric, that there's a lot of people not talking about second rounders, and they're not talking about second rounders because it's not LeBron's son. Like that. I guess my point is that's going to come with the territory. It's going to come with the territory. LeBron shouldn't be surprised or shocked that that's coming with the territory. He shouldn't. And LeBron especially, because people have been critical about LeBron since he was in high school. And what has Bron kind of done the entire time? Shut him up and prove him wrong. All right, let's get another one here. All right, Chris says he's with Braun on this one. Ruben, okay. He took a shot at Braun and his fatherly decisions. That's a fair criticism right there. Ruben, that's a good point. It's a good point. That actually is. That is less to do with, hey, Bronny just isn't playing good enough, right? That has less to do with that. That is more how you are fathering your child. I'm not a fan of that part. You're okay. You're okay on that one. I wouldn't agree. I wouldn't disagree with you on that. Let me find, because I know there was a quote here. This is the quote, January 29th on First Take. I am pleading with LeBron James as a father. Stop this. Stop this. We all know that Bronny James is in the NBA because of his dad. Maybe that's the quote that he got upset with. Yeah, that's the thing that I was trying to find a little bit earlier. It's got to a point where this LeBron sensitivity is just beyond the pale. Um, this is in reaction to James' teams reaching out to him about his son on February 1st. Smith added that Clutch reached out to him, pissed him off. Yeah, I'll tell you this, for LeBron's sake or for Stephen A's sake, you know, at the end of the day, what he's looking for more than anything else are people talking about him, and people are. So this is another one. Um, so yeah, I thought that was an interesting. I thought that was an interesting exchange. 100 on Stephen A on this one, and you guys can look. You guys can tell. A lot of people have their own opinion on this. A lot of people have their own opinion on this. A lot of people have their own, thoughts on this. Some people are going to side with LeBron. I think if I even highlight some of the few ones that I mentioned right here, some of them are in favor of LeBron. Some of them are in favor of Stephen A. Smith. And by the way, that's why a comment or that's why something like this is interesting. It's interesting for the reasons that I'm talking about, because there are going to be people that kind of fall on both sides. Here's another one. Stephen A. didn't lie. Bronny did absolutely nothing in college. Okay. He said Clutch reached out, pissed him off, but today said Braun should have reached out instead of confronting him. It really is a disservice to basketball the way ESPN and TNT talking heads discuss the game. It hurts the sport. We'll get into that in a second as well. There's more to it on that. I appreciate all the comments here. This is good. This is good because I think it gives perspectives from all different angles. Let me get a couple of these supers in here. Tizzy, thank you for the super, brother. I appreciate you. Using Bronny to criticize LeBron is not cool, any way you put it. I would check him too. Stephen A needs to learn how to leave it at basketball. Like I said from the beginning, if something's personal, then I'm okay with that. If you're taking it away from the criticism of on the floor or criticism of any of that stuff, I mean, hell, you could criticize the Lakers front office as much as criticizing LeBron and say, well, the Lakers, they're the ones that drafted him. They didn't have to draft him at number 55. Maybe they did. Bron obviously is flexing his power, but making it personal, I agree with. You never want to make it personal. And I guess you could say that quote when he's calling out, pleading for LeBron, to stop this and that, whatever the case is. Obviously, maybe there's a little bit of personal there. Maybe Bron just doesn't like Stephen A. Smith. I don't have an answer for you. John Wayne, LeBron invited criticism of Bronny when he tweeted that he was better than half the players in the league. Truthfully, what other person would be drafted averaging 3 points? And listen, the health issue, everybody feels obviously very bad about that. That was part of the argument too, was like, hey, maybe he goes back to USC and gets a full season under his belt before he gets into the league. But he didn't need to. And that's the bottom line. He didn't need to. John, I appreciate the comment. I appreciate you reaching out. It took advantage of, obviously a predicament that LeBron had control over and was able to get his son in the league. Let's get another one in here. Stephen A. Smith has always critiqued LeBron on his shows. That's fine, but don't use Bronny to check that box. Maybe that's how Bron viewed the critique. I think at the end of the day, and we won't spend too much more time on this topic, I just thought, look, those are two power players in sports, period. Everywhere you look, Stephen A. Smith is there. Now you're seeing Stephen A. Smith on all these political platforms as well. Stephen A. is everywhere. And then you don't get any bigger than LeBron. And there's LeBron checking Stephen A. before the game, sitting courtside. Yeah, you don't see that every day. You don't see that every day. And I saw somebody say, and I didn't watch First Take today, but I saw somebody else say something on there that I think Stephen A. wanted LeBron to reach out, not his people to reach out. All right, semantics there. If the two wanted to pick up the phone and call each other, they would. Mitch Potter, that's not what Stephen A. did, Slee. What he criticized LeBron as a father for allowing the Bronny situation to happen. Well, look, here's the good news with the situation. I don't think it's been that much of a storyline. If you told me what are the storylines this year around the Lakers, how far down the list would Bronny be? The storyline would be JJ Redick. It's Lakers trading for Luka, Lakers defense, Dorian Finney-Smith, D'Angelo Russell off the team, LeBron doing what he's doing at age 40, Austin Reeves looking like a phenomenal player even as a third star, Lakers in the NBA standings, Lakers beating Denver finally. There's a lot of storylines before you get to Bronny. The good news is it was never really a distraction this year. So, and that's what I would have had a big problem with. I would have had a big problem with if this was a distraction all season. If the Lakers were losing and they're still throwing Bronny and the crowd's chanting Bronny and Lakers, they got nothing to, they're not playing for anything. That's where it would have been a problem. Mitch, thank you for the super. Savons, thank you for the super. Tizzy, thank you for the super. John Wayne, thank you for the super. I appreciate all you guys with these supers here. Critiquing LeBron's parroting is very personal. Yeah, I think there's certain things you're walking a fine line, but I also think when they drafted Bronny, some things were going to be fair game. Some things were going to be fair game. Sean Sanders, call me a bad father. We're going to have problems too. Fair enough. Fair enough. And that's what everybody says. Anybody that has a kid, I have not been blessed yet with a kid, but anyone who says they have a kid, it's like everything is gloves are off the moment you start talking about the kids. So I get it from that perspective. All right, thank you very much for watching the clip. Just want to give a shout out here to one of our partners, the Wallace Firm. They are official injury attorney of the Sliwa Show and Hoops Talk, the entire channel. If you are ever in a need, and I hope you're not, but some type of serious injury with yourself or a family member of yours, I would like to personally help you by introducing you to the best in the business, Brad Wallace and the Wallace Firm. Also got a URL out here that you can use as well. Just go to wallacewins.com/Sliwa. Thank you for their partnership, and thank you for being a part of the Sliwa Show.